nunchucks are out, it means attract your attention because it's a good one. Right. Your task, if you choose to accept this mission, this is what you need to do, right? This is what this all comes down to at the end. Drop your logical answer for how a solar eclipse can play out with finite light. That is, with photons crawling along at 299,792 kilometers per second. How could it be simpler? In all the time I've been doing this, still no explanation. How can that be? Is anybody listening to me? How can that be? No stringing words together and hoping for the best, because it never ends well for the person who does that. Here's what I mean. Here's an example. The black cat is on the wall, but people are writing the cat wall car black 2 cars fit so. Huh? Guys, it's obvious when something doesn't make sense. It's just really obvious. All I'm asking for, all I've ever asked for, is a logical solution to how a solar eclipse, the ones that we see play out here on this planet, how it can play out with finite light. Okay? That's it. Just one. Just, it will make me feel better knowing that at least somebody knows how it plays out, because nobody does. There is no logical answer. So one thing is guaranteed: nobody's going to come up with this answer. Have any of you approached your local astrophysicist or that kind of circle of people where all the qualifications and the PhDs and the bachelors are? They will, you'd think, would have an explanation for how a solar eclipse plays out with photons traveling at 299,792 kilometers per second. But mind you, it's tricky because they're massless and invisible. So good luck with that one. But before I leave you, just to save people some time, all right, because I know time is valuable. My time is too, believe it or not, but I choose to do this because this too is valuable for the children, for my kids and their friends, so that they are not hustled out of their lives by liars and charlatans. So when you don't come up with this answer, which you won't, don't substitute the answer for. Are you saying you know more than all of the scientists? Are you saying they're all wrong? Oui. Ja. Si. Yes. Oui. Ja. Si. Yes. I am saying they are all wrong. I'm not saying that I know more than all of the scientists, because on this one, less is more, right? Now, what I am saying is I have more common sense than all of them put together. If they're still searching for the photon, they cannot come up with a logical solution. None of you can. For a solar eclipse, the moon and the sun, pretty big. No logical solution. But they know everything about black holes. And all of that study is done with light traveling at 299,792 kilometers per second. The stars in the night sky, they tell you that they are not there anymore because it's taken so long for that light to radiate to here. Some of them may have gone out already. But that is with light traveling at 299,792 kilometers per second. But during a solar eclipse, even when I hear that, but during a solar eclipse, if I got $1 for every time I have said that in the last 6 months, I don't know more But on this subject, less is more because there is no photon. Why would I believe you over all of the scientists? Now this is a very good question. Why would you believe anybody over yourself? I have a very simple rule, okay? 1 + 1 = 2. Now this is, it's very underrated, okay? 1 + 1 = 2. It's pure logic. It's pure logic. Now, an example of 1 + 1 = 2 is the sun gets covered by the moon, right? And as soon as the sun is covered by the moon, bang! Casts a shadow. The moon, shadow, because it has blocked the absolute light from the sun. I'm in the shadow. I can look, see the moon, see the sun behind it. What am I seeing? I am seeing the moon blocking the sun. There are no photons, because if there were photons, we're starting to look at 1 + 1 = 3.7, 3.8, or 1 + 1 = 246 squared. 1 + 1. Light, something blocks the light, you're in the shadow. Absolute light. There is no photon. So why would you believe me over all the scientists? Well, if you enjoy the thought of logic, if it excites you to know that everybody would be on the same playing field, that there wouldn't be absurdities that there is no evidence for, everybody would have a fairer crack at the whip. If you like that kind of thing, you'd be better off trusting your own judgment when it comes to a solar eclipse. Because if you trust your own judgment when it comes to a solar eclipse, so much junk falls by the wayside. Just like that. Because once you do realize that there is no photon, and there isn't, there still hasn't been a logical explanation, and I have been doing this for quite some time, you will not find evidence of photons. You will not find a delay in any light radiating from the sun, and wait for your next solar eclipse and then decide. It will be coming to a neighborhood near you soon. The delay happens before it reaches your eyes. These are things that people drop instead of the answer. So when people write, the delay happens before it reaches your eyes, I get visions of doing this on a bus and throwing those people out. Who else said that? The bus doesn't stop, we keep going, okay? What about GPS, LiDAR, moon reflectors, and etc., etc.? Now this one, you cannot claim something about something without any evidence whatsoever. And then later, years later, you invent other stuff, and then the other stuff that you invent, you use it to try to justify the thing that you made claims about a long time ago. It doesn't work like that. A solar eclipse is a solar eclipse. It's been happening since forever, all right? Since before we came along, since before even the animals, anything came along. It would have been some of the first stuff here. So, how does this have anything to do with anything? This stuff, it's one of two. They're lying to you about some of the stuff, or they're lying to you about some of the stuff. You have to pick one, okay? That stuff does not prove any photons. The solar eclipse proves there are no photons. This stuff, let's you talk to them about that. When you ask them for the logical explanation for how a solar eclipse can play out with with finite light, and they don't have the answer, then say to them, well, what about the LiDAR, GPS and that stuff? How does that prove that the speed of light is 299,792 kilometers per second? Why do they prove that that is the speed of light if there is no explanation for how a solar eclipse can play out with finite light? Can you see where I'm going with this? You can't have your cake and eat it as well, can you? Really? There is sarcasm in my voice. I've been doing this for a certain amount of time. And when I go over the same stuff, like for the 8th, 9th, 100th time, sarcasm creeps in. It's a way of me protecting the phone, kind of a thing. What about all of the people who have worked it out and more? What about all of the people? What do we mean by all of the people? Galileo! Fitto, Wheatstone, Bradley, all of these people. Roma, we don't want to forget Roma, because he detected the light delay, didn't he? Where is he? Just pretend he's there. He's not there. Roma didn't happen. Galileo didn't happen. None of them happened. All anybody needs to do to shut me up is drop a logical solution for the solar eclipse with finite light. I've asked for this quite a few times. I've asked your local physicist, astrophysicist, and his mates. Mr. Brian Cox, where are you? Where's the explanation? How is it everybody knows everything about the universe and black holes and this, that, and... But, where is the evidence for the finite light? All of that stuff works with finite light. Light years, all of it. But there is no logical explanation. It must be awkward in photon camp right now. It must be very awkward in photon camp right now. All I'm asking for, I'm being reasonable. This is all just a joke. I'm not really bad-tempered. Not even when I talk about the non-existent photon for the 120th time in the last 2 weeks. Please, just one. Because if nobody can drop a logical answer for how a solar eclipse can play out with finite light, what does that tell you as a person? What does that tell you? You can't do it. So I can talk to the camera like I'm talking to you personally, because it is applying to everybody that is seeing this. You personally do not have an explanation for how a solar eclipse can play out with finite light, with your photons. You don't know anybody who has a logical explanation for how a solar eclipse can play out with photons, with finite light. You don't know anybody who knows any astrophysicists that have a logical answer for how a solar eclipse can play out with finite light, with photons traveling at 299,792,458 meters per second to be exact. Who worked that out, spinning mirrors? Do you not see how ridiculous it is? I'm hoping this is under 15 minutes, because I do not want to do it again. Just shut me up with an answer. Don't try any of these though, because they don't work. They just make you look a little bit sillier. 1426. Laters.